Am I the antagonist for telling my child's other parent that they should have done more about my child going into their room? I have 2 children, but this post revolves around my eldest, Gia, 21 or Darty. Myself and Gia's mom, Kayla, divorced when she was a baby. We both went on to remarry. My wife and I had our son, who is now 16. Kayla and her husband have 3 other children who are 14, 12, and 8. When Gia was growing up, she alternated weeks and holidays between us. Once she went to college, she said she would stay with her mom and stepfather during breaks but would still visit me, spend the night, etc. I was fine with it and understood it made more sense for her to stay in one place as an adult. She still has a room at my place, and my home is always her home. Gia has had some issues as her siblings on her mom's side get older. Not so much with her 12-year-old brother, but her 8 and 14-year-old sisters are always going through her stuff, especially when she is away at college. Stuff has gotten lost or broken. Kayla and her husband say that they have spoken to them. They put a lock on the door, and it works for when Gia is at school. But when Gia is home, if she forgets to lock her door, her sisters are in her room. I'm not aware of what consequences are given for this, but Gia has grown increasingly frustrated. The final straw was when she woke up to her sisters pestering her. She says Kayla and her stepfather fussed at them, but her sisters didn't seem to care. Recently, Gia came to me and asked if she could stay at my place during breaks, and she'll switch where she visits her mom and spends the rare overnight. She and her brother bicker like siblings do, but he respects her privacy and overall, they're a lot closer. So she feels it's a better bet. I said absolutely, this is her home too. Gia told Kayla, who then called me and was upset. She said we barely get to see Gia as it is because she doesn't come home too often. She was looking forward to spending more time together this summer. I pointed out she still can, but Gia will live with me. Kayla begged me to try to talk Gia out of it. I said no. I added maybe if she had taken things seriously, which I had told her in the past, Gia wouldn't do this. Kayla is now angry at me. She accused me of telling her how to parent children that aren't mine. I said I'm not, but she can't be surprised. We've never had this big a disagreement before. We've always co-parented peacefully. Now things are rocky. My wife feels I could have left out the part about this being Kayla and her husband's own fault. Am I the antagonist? First of all, let me just say that juggling a blended family with more dynamics than a soap opera is no easy feat. It sounds like you're in the midst of a classic family drama series, and the plot twists are keeping you on your toes. Now, onto the serious side of things. It's clear that Gia is feeling frustrated and invaded in her own space, and that's a legitimate concern. Privacy is a precious commodity, especially for someone trying to navigate adulthood and establish their own boundaries. On the flip side, Kayla's disappointment in not being able to spend more time with Gia is understandable. Family time is important, and wanting to cherish moments together shouldn't be dismissed. In the end, it seems like communication is key here. Both you and Kayla need to have a heart-to-heart with Gia to understand her perspective and find a compromise that works for everyone. And hey, who knows, maybe a family therapy session could be the sequel to this saga. So, in response to your query, are you the a-hole in this situation? Well, you're just a character in the complicated narrative of family dynamics. But remember, it's never too late to rewrite the script and add some humorous plot twists along the way. Am I the antagonist for not going to my best friend's wedding after being demoted from bridesmaid? My best friend forever asked me to be a bridesmaid a year ago. I was so honored and excited because I adore weddings. I adore her, and it would be my first time. I've been planning small details on how I can be helpful on her big day, like having Tide to go, tissues, and a mini sewing kit in my dress for emergencies. But she hasn't let me in on any of the big plans, and I've been out of the loop. But I thought nothing of it because maybe she just likes to plan alone. We recently went on a 5-day destination bachelorette trip, and it was an absolute blast. It was classic bridesmaid events that you'd expect, lots of drinking and dancing. We get home, and I get a call from the bride saying that I was a mess on the trip, and she thinks I'm going to ruin her wedding now. Like, huh? We were all having an amazing time on a girls' party trip, and she's mad that I drank with everyone or? I've had issues with alcohol in the past, so I understand that she was concerned beforehand, but I was the same level of drunk as everyone else on this trip, so it feels like I'm being targeted. I was told that I can no longer be a bridesmaid unless I get my act together, so I decided not to drink for a month since she said we could rediscuss the wedding plans after I prove myself. Apparently that was a lie just to give me hope, because she immediately rebooked everything without me in it, and told me a month later that it was too late to add me back in. The other bridesmaids got their nails, tans, and lashes done together before the trip, and I was left out of that. Plus, a year ago, I remember the bride was crying, saying she asked too many girls to be in her wedding. I think she's wanted me to step down for a while, but was too afraid to say it, and instead told me that I ruined the bachelorette, so I'll feel like it's my fault for being removed from the wedding. I have videos and pictures of everything we did, and by no means was I looking too drunk in those. I do have to add, though, that I puked on the floor at the end of our first night. Obviously, that was bad. So, after a year of obsessing over choosing a bridesmaid dress and practicing poses and following any wedding page I find, I'm just now dropped from the wedding party, and I'm supposed to be happy about going as a regular guest and be squeezed into a table that wasn't planned for. The other girls have been ignoring me since the trip. I can't understand what I did that was so wrong to the point of them thinking I'm going to ruin the most important day of my best friend's life. I don't know if the girls will continue to ignore me at the wedding or if I'll get treated with pity, but both sound horrible. Would I be the asshole for not going to my best friend's wedding after being demoted from bridesmaid because I would feel very uncomfortable there? She said I'm making it all about me for being upset over this and that. I'm not being a friend if I don't come. It sounds like you have been caught in a whirlwind of wedding drama. It's clear that you were deeply invested in being a supportive and reliable bridesmaid, but it seems like communication breakdowns have led to misunderstandings between you and the bride. While it's understandable that you feel hurt and confused by the sudden demotion, skipping the wedding might not be the best course of action. It could give the impression that you are holding a grudge or seeking revenge rather than prioritizing your friend's happiness on her big day. Consider reaching out to your best friend for an open and honest conversation to clarify expectations and feelings from both sides. Express how you are feeling and listen to her perspective as well. It may help clear the air and salvage your friendship amidst this wedding chaos. Remember, weddings can bring out the best and worst in people. Try to approach the situation with humor and understanding, but don't forget to stand up for yourself and communicate your own needs effectively. Good luck navigating this bridal storm. Am I the antagonist for letting someone buy stuff for me and not disclosing it until after? Let me start this off with 2 things. 1. I don't dress like a girl or anything. I know that anyone can wear makeup, certain clothing items. I'm just trying to clear that I'm not wearing dresses, makeup, etc. 2. I said. I was naturally born with gentle features. I have light eyes and I'm considered short for a dude. My face is girly according to my dad growing up, and I currently rock my wavy curly hair slightly past my shoulders. I often wear jeans, loose flannel. It is not the first time that I was mistaken for a girl before. No, I do not have a feminine voice. Genetics are a lottery and I got half. What happened was that I went to one of my campus bars to chill and relax. Right now I have a badly popped pimple on my upper lip thanks to a friend, so I wore a black facial mask until it healed off. While I was sitting, the bar dude let me know that one of the guys wanted to pay for my drink. He asked if I'm comfortable with that since he obviously knows I'm a guy. I just nod my head and say I'm cool with it. I took the drink, and after I asked him which guy sent it over, he pointed behind me to a table a bit far off, but not exactly. I nodded at the dude as a thanks and held up the empty shot glass to show. Returned to my business. The guy who got me the shot sat next to me and asked how I was. I replied that I'm good, just trying to relax after class and exams. He gets that oh shit look and asks if I'm a guy. I say yes. He gets upset and asks, so why the heck did you take the shot then? And I just shrugged, saying he offered it. He asks me to front the money up because it was obvious he was paying for a lady. I refuse and point out that he chose to pay for a random person's drink. He tried to get the bartender involved, but even he said that he paid for a random person's drink and he's not going to charge me. The guy left pissed off, cursing and stuff. What brings me here today is that when I was telling my roommate about the situation I experienced at the campus bar, he said it's funny, but I'm still a jerk for taking a drink that wasn't intended for me since I'm not a girl. So, am I the jerk? Well, my friend, it seems you found yourself accidentally caught in a classic case of mistaken identity. While your appearance may lean towards the softer side, it's clear that you are not intentionally trying to deceive anyone. The guy at the bar made a choice to send a drink to a random person, which happened to be you. You didn't do anything wrong by accepting it in good faith. Your roommate may see the humor in the situation, but in reality, you were just a victim of circumstance. You handled the awkward encounter with grace and honesty, which shows your good character. So in this scenario, I'd say you are not the jerk at all. Just keep doing you and rock those wavy curly locks with confidence. Am I the antagonist for being nice to my bullies? I am 16 years old and high-functioning autistic, and I tend to people please sometimes. It started with a school trip. While I was absent from school, I received a message from a classmate, let's call her Sarah. On that day when I was absent, she had an argument with her friend group, and she messaged me asking if we could share a room on this school trip. Because I didn't know how bad of a person she is, I said yes. Sarah found a room with 2 strange and shy girls. Let's call them Jasmine and Mandy. I was staying in a separate room by myself. We played games together, and I saw Sarah record me while I made a meow sound that she asked me to do for fun. She also recorded Jasmine and Mandy, and sent me the videos of them doing funny things. Everything was going fine. Fast forward, and we were playing Truth or Dare. Sarah dared me to go to a random room in the hotel and ask for toilet paper. I entered a completely random room with no one in it, and a girl, let's call her Laura, opened the door. I asked her for toilet paper and then told her it was a dare. Laura asked me who I was playing with. I told her the girls' names. Then I went back to Sarah, Mandy, and Jasmine's room to find that they had locked me out. I waited until they opened the door for me. Suddenly, Sarah became angry. She got mad at me because I talked to Laura and told her that I was playing with her. And that doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Also, moments before we were playing this game, she started picking on my looks, but I didn't think much of it. Her behavior left me very confused. I became fed up with it and left the room because Sarah started demanding that I go to a door again and do that dare again, otherwise, she promises she won't lock me out again. I got fed up and said that I am going to grab my things and leave the room. I overshared with them about how my mom drank and smoked while pregnant and made a silly joke about how I had a crush on this creepy old man who is our history teacher. I was also talking very fast because that is my way of talking. They ended up using these against me to bully me. In summary, they all spam call me, threaten me with repeating the school year, and bomb my phone with texts for no reason. Once I replied to their phone call, and they all started making meow noises to mock me. Then they went to some classmates and played the recording of me making the meow sound, so they all made fun of me. The field trip ended, and every day at school, I hear Sarah and the three girls making fun of me. The most common insult they used is that they call me stupid and kept playing that recording of me just making meow. When I ignored what they did, they called me deaf and even more stupid. I just want some opinions on it because I am not very aware of social cues, and I always feel like I have done something wrong to deserve this type of harassment. Thank you for reading. First of all, let me just say, those girls are acting more immature than a toddler who just discovered mud. I mean, using a meow sound against you? Seriously? That's some next-level kindergarten behavior. It's clear that Sarah and her squad are way out of line with their bullying tactics. Making fun of someone's quirks and mocking them is just plain mean, not to mention incredibly childish. You deserve respect and kindness, not this nonsense. As for you feeling like you've done something wrong, let me assure you, you're not the one in the wrong here. It's those girls who clearly missed the memo on how to treat others with decency and respect. Don't let their antics get to you. Hold your head high, continue being your awesome self, and remember that their behavior reflects poorly on them, not on you. Keep being you, and don't let the meows get you down. Am I the antagonist for training my partner's dog behind their back? My girlfriend and I, both female 29 years old, have known each other since high school and only recently moved in together. We're both animal lovers, with different definitions for that though, and have both grown up with animals and had multiple dogs so far. I knew she would want to have pets, however, we have wildly different approaches to having pets and different ideas on how they should be treated, which I knew was going to be a problem. In short, she's a traditionalist who has dealt with problematic dogs by rehoming them ethically, and I've dealt with them by painstakingly researching dog behavior and behavior modification, eventually winning a disc dog competition with a formerly reactive backyard breeder border collie. She adopted a 3-year-old female herding mix. As expected, this put a bit of strain on our relationship, both due to increased general stress and disagreements on rules and training. I tried to gently point out the things I saw as my girlfriend doing wrong with alternatives, but she was dismissive, and it only led to conflict. I then decided we'll just treat the dog differently, but she got annoyed with me on multiple occasions for it, telling me she found my clicker dumb and asking me to stop giving the dog treats. She also set back my training. For example, I taught the dog basic cues such as sit, down, stay and recall, and was increasing criteria and fading out treats at the dog's pace, while she would increase criteria too fast, repeat the cue multiple times in an agitated tone, offer no reinforcement and poison cues by following them up with something scary, like a surface she was afraid to walk on. This frustrated me, but I didn't want to communicate it, thinking it would just lead to more conflict and no useful outcome. I then decided to try to lead by example and train the dog behind her back, no longer using a clicker or treats around her, and changing the cues from the usual ones to ones in a language I speak. And she doesn't, so she can't poison cues I train. My hope was she's going to see results and change her mind once the training gets somewhere. This was easy as she works a blue-collar job with morning or evening shifts, and I work a 9-5 remote one, giving me a lot of alone time with the dog. The dog quickly bonded with me and decided she was the spare human, which I tried to deny because it hurt her feelings. The dog, however, didn't get the memo and was super obvious. She's also a super fast learner, and we made a bunch of progress. This weekend all 3 of us went on a long hike. My girlfriend insisted on letting the dog off leash, and I ended up showing off a bunch of the training we did. Auto recall and heel, while people and dogs passed us. Release cue to greet someone or do what she wants. Downstays, check-ins and such. It didn't go as I had hoped, and instead of admitting she was wrong, my girlfriend got super hurt and offended. We didn't talk for the entire hike and things are still tense. Am I the antagonist? How do I fix this? It sounds like you and your girlfriend have some positively different approaches to dog training. While it's clear that you both care about the well-being of your furry friend, it's important to find common ground to avoid any rough situations in your relationship. It seems like you've been putting in a lot of effort to train the dog in your own way, which is commendable, but it's essential to communicate openly and respectfully with your girlfriend about your concerns and preferences. It's understandable that tensions may arise when there are conflicting viewpoints on pet care, but try to approach the situation with a wagging tail and an open mind. Perhaps you can sit down with your girlfriend and have a bark-free conversation about finding a compromise that works for both of you and the dog. Remember, teamwork makes the dream work, or in this case, the pack work. In the meantime, continue to lead by example and show the positive results of your training efforts. Keep the lines of communication open, offer support and understanding, and most importantly, remember that love and patience are the key ingredients to a happy and harmonious household for both humans and their 4-legged companions. Wishing you a tail-wagging resolution to this situation. Am I the antagonist for laughing at my partner and calling them silly for being overprotective of their child? My 38-year-old female stepdaughter is 12 years old, and she lives full-time with my husband, 40-year-old male, and me. She is really into Lego and has started a YouTube channel with our permission to share some videos of her builds. It's just a small amateur channel with a few hundred followers, but she's very passionate about it. Because of this hobby, she made some friends online, and those in the group that live close by decided to meet for the first time. The meet was in a city an hour away, and I was the one to drive her there. They are also young teens ranging from 11 to 14, I think the oldest was 15, and most of them have their own Lego-based channels. It was a lovely meet, just young people bonding over a shared interest. But one thing that surprised me was that my stepdaughter was the only girl in the group. All of them are teenage boys. They also didn't know she was a girl because her YouTube channel doesn't have her name or any personal information, and her videos are mostly of their builds, and she doesn't show her face, at mine and her father's insistence. So there was this cute moment of shock in their faces when they were trying to figure out who she could be. They quickly got over it. The thing is, my husband didn't take it so well when I told him about this after we came home. He thinks it's an all-boys group and it's not appropriate for his daughter to be in future meets because they are already planning the next one to build a project together. I thought his concern was so ludicrous that my immediate reaction was to laugh. I guess there was a part of me that thought it was amusing to see his protective father instincts kick in. He got really upset with me for laughing, saying I don't understand what's like for hormonal boys being this age. I doubled down by telling him he was just being silly. I was there the entire time, and so did other parents, and the same would happen in any future events. There was nothing inappropriate about this. It took me a while to realize he was so serious about this subject. Fortunately, he realized eventually it would be grossly unfair to deprive his daughter of these new friendships, but he's still mad at me for laughing and calling him silly. He felt I was dismissive and sort of an, It sounds like you found yourself in a bit of a brick-tastrophe, but worry not, you're not entirely in the wrong here. Humor can be a slippery slope in serious discussions, especially when it comes to parental concerns. While the image of hormonal boys struggling to process the existence of a girl in their Lego cohort is quite comical, it's important to remember that your husband's reaction stemmed from a place of care for his daughter's well-being. It's great that your stepdaughter has found a passion in Lego and has made friends through her YouTube channel. It would be a shame to stifle that just because of gender dynamics. Your husband's initial reaction may have been a tad overprotective, but it does showcase his commitment to looking out for his daughter. Moving forward, approach the topic with a bit more sensitivity and maybe a touch less laughter, to show that you understand his concerns while still advocating for your stepdaughter's autonomy and budding friendships. Building a bridge of understanding in this blocky situation will help mend any rifts caused by the clash of humor and seriousness. Thanks for watching. When you subscribe, make sure to hit the bell to turn on notifications so you never miss a video. To finish listening to all the stories, check out the playlist in the description.